I have a new old stock nut head here that I thought I'd share. I thought I'd show it coming out of the box and everything else, and it's kind of cool to see something this old still in the original box. I got this from a neighbor of mine. Found out that he, I guess, used to sell these. Actually, it was an old neighbor of mine because, let's see, I got this, I think, in 1991. But I guess he sold these in the 70s or maybe the 60s, I'm not sure. But anyway, I just thought I'd take it out of the box and show it to you and give it a comparison to something that I just picked up, say about 2 weeks ago. Look at that, another new old stock nut hut, but this time it's a new version. The first one was in Chicago, Illinois. This one's from Peoria, Illinois. These nut huts on the right that I'm showing you are actually for sale now. I think I paid, I don't remember, I guess I'll look it up before I get to the next part of the video, but it was like, I'd say about $125 for it, which I thought wasn't a bad deal because I have a nut hut that I use all the time at parties and they are fantastic. So I was really pleased to see that someone actually came out and did a repro of these. So what I'm going to do is, since they're both new old stock, I'm going to take them both out of the box first time and we can film it. Then I'm going to take them apart and we're going to look at all the parts and compare them, and then I'll put it back together and then we'll check and see the quality. USA 1960s versus China 2018. And we'll just check them out and see which one looks to be a better product and which one heats up the best and which one works the best. First we'll start with the original nut hut. You got this box, another box, and inside you have the original roof, still in plastic. Let's put that down. Let's see if you can see inside here. So the unit is pre-assembled in there. What we got in here, this is the bulb. Actually the socket. I don't know, I feel a bulb in there, so just the socket. So I'm just going to pull this out. And you can see the cord here. Original cord, look at that thing. Brand new. Now for the repro, open it up. Let's see, we got a little note here. Just tell me how much it costs. Let me see what it says. Alright, so it was $129, $10.97 tax, $15 shipping, $155.07. That's what I ended up paying for this thing. Looks like the roof is a different color. It's a little darker red. This thing's all packed in styrofoam, so I can't really show you taking it out. So, well, maybe we'll get a far shot. Separate this, see if you're still in the frame. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. It's got a DC cord. Let's see what we got here. This one looks like completely assembled. Not for long. Smells like burnt plastic. This is a little scratchy looking. This is not very nice looking. It's actually kind of flimsy feeling. It doesn't feel as good as this one. So here's a comparison. So if you're in the frame work here, let me see. Yeah, so you can see here's a new one. It's actually a flimsy plastic. It's smaller. It's got scuffs. This one doesn't seem to appear to have that. But yeah, so far I like the original one. I like that a lot better. Oh, this is interesting. They got the bulb in, let me see if that's in there, if you can see how, let me zoom in. See the way they got their socket? It's in a little plastic cylinder, and the socket just kind of sits in there. Loose, that's alright. So this is what the repro looks like. The body, it looks to be about the same. I'm sure it's got to be a little different because the roof was a different size. So I'm going to take the original one out now. Now they're out of the box. I'm just going to do like a side-by-side comparison, giving my opinion on these. Just looking at them, definitely the original one is much better looking. I like the roof better. I like the color. I like the writing. I don't know. I just like that. I like the little tags on there, the hot mixed nuts and hot cashew tags. I like a toggle switch. I like that more than I do like the little push button switch. And I like the little name tag on the bottom. Before I take it apart, I thought I'd try the lights. I plugged them in, and the new one does have a 3-prong cord, where the old one, of course, only had the 2-prong at the time, which was pretty standard for these, for most products or most things back then. So anyway, let's turn it on. I'm just going to turn it on for a couple seconds because the heater will turn on, which I don't think shouldn't be a big issue. At least I know on the old ones it wasn't. But I'm just going to turn it on for a couple seconds just so you can see what it looks like lit up. There's a little light bulb on both of them, so it should light up the roof, and it should light up the product. So this way, like I said, these used to be in like an old bar or something like that. So it's kind of dark, and these would be like in the background, and like the roof would be lit up, and you would see the nuts glowing, and you know, draw your attention to there, so you would, you know, buy the product. So anyway, let's just turn it on. Alright, so the first one is the original. Lights up really nice. Lights up down in here. I don't have no product in there. And the new one, wow, that's really disappointing. Wow, that's really bad. Okay, well, I don't even have to think hard on that one, which one I like better. Okay, I just wanted to show these in the dark. So right now I have the lights off, and you can see the new nut hut. This is the 2018 version. To me, it's totally dark, and it's pretty dim looking. Let me turn it off, and you can see a comparison of the 1960s nut hut. I think you'll see the product a lot more with this in the darker area. It's actually funny because it actually looks like this one's lighting that one up now. Alright, now let's just put both of them on. And yeah, it wasn't much of a difference there. Alright, to take this apart first, you just take this off. I was looking at this again, and I mean, the original has a little nut hut on both sides, which I guess you really don't need, but it just seems like, you know, everything's flimsy in here. Like I said, you see how I ride to the right is scratched. See that rough patch on top right here? I mean, the workmanship is crap. But anyway, that's the top. So, to get this off, you would, on the other one, you would take off that tag, and there's, I don't know what they call them, those brass pieces, and they have like the 2 wings that come on, you bend them apart, kind of like a cotter pin, you know. But you would take those off, this will lift up, which is nice because then you can clean inside here. This design does not have that feature. You have a series of screws on the sides, and then when you go to lift it up, take it off, you can't, because you got that light bulb. So I did like the idea of this up here, but I wish I could remove it. Maybe it was like a channel where I can just pull the wire down and lift it up, something like that. They just had like a split all the way down. That would have been nice, but they don't. So now I have to take the bottom off, which I did, and that again was just more screws. So you got I think 8 screws in here, and it's just down here. So then when I flip this over, let's just flip it back. And when I flip it back here, you can see what's inside. I just got a bunch of wires that they just got little connectors on. So I'm going to cut all the connectors off and take this apart and look at it. But I'm just looking at the heaters, man. These look pretty flimsy. I don't know how well they heat, but I'm just going off a comparison of the old ones. But anyway, I'll take it all apart. We'll look at that later. But they did ground it. At least I noticed that they did take some paint away for where they actually were going to ground it. So that was good. And yeah, take it apart and look at it because I want to clean it anyway. I'm not going to sit there and use this without washing it. So it's kind of sad because you can't take this crap out to wash it. And if you've ever had one of these, you know that you have to wash it, because after a while, just using it, this pan here will start filling up with salt and of course the oil from there, and then you get condensation, not condensation, but like just say moisture in the air going into here, I guess, yeah, condensation, whatever. And anyway, with the salt and any moisture in here will create corrosion and start eating up this. So you do want to be able to take this apart, and plus this here will gum up eventually because of the oil and the salts, and little pieces of product will stick on there. So it's nice to clean it. If you notice down here, you'll see that they have these nuts here, and that's so you can adjust the amount of product that is served. So at least you do have access to that. So let's take this apart a little further and see how much more difficult it is. Right now I can just tell you, after taking I took the other ones apart many times, this is way more difficult to take apart. Alright, I cut all the connectors that I have to cut off to get this apart. Gee, I hope I didn't ruin my warranty. So anyway, now I can take this light out, right? At least I thought I could. What am I hanging up on? Maybe I have to use 2 hands or feed it through. Let's see. Just kind of hang that there. There we go. Alright, hold on. I don't want to scratch it. Okay, so we got that apart. So actually, let's look at this. It's a one-piece design where the other one is 2-piece, so I don't mind this one-piece design. Actually, I like the one-piece design, and I did like the light being there, but I would like a column like cut here. So this way, if you want to take this off to clean it, you just come over here, drag the cord down there, lift it up, and the cord stays in place, so I don't have to take it all apart and cut the wires. So that's what I would have done if I was designing this. So anyway, I will give credit to the one-piece design and the light sticking up there, but they have such a weenie light. I mean, it didn't light up nothing. Maybe the other one's sticking out this way actually cast the light better. This one's just coming up. I just think you need a stronger bulb, but I'm going to go with what they gave me, of course. So far, let's get to the next piece. Now that on the original one, there's like a spring, if I remember correctly, that you unhook and these will come out. So looks like these guys are screwed in. Yeah, I see screws. Okay, so let me unscrew this and take the next piece off. Alright, as far as this part comes out roughly the same, actually the same as the other one. Yeah, this one has the screws. You just pull, you got to lift it up on an angle this way, and then you got to pull the threaded piece through here. I still have some wires hooked up, but anyway, we're going to put this down. Okay, put it over here. Now this piece here, let's see if I can film it while I do this. Should have kept the tripod. So you lift this up like so. Kind of grab this piece in here if you can. It'd be better if you use 2 hands, but anyway, you lift this up. Hold on a second. Get a tripod.
Okay, now I got it on a tripod, you can see better. Because I want to hold this piece, this basket, which is, bring it up here, this thing, as it's moving on me like that. Okay, can you see it? Alright, so let's put this back down. Alright, so you lift this up, just kind of grabbing that basket in the back. Got them pulled back a little. See, that's not working, so let's see. Okay, I lift it higher. I'm holding this basket back here with one finger. Now this one, you just gotta get it above the back section here, and you just slide it out like that, and there you have it. So that's these two pieces here. This is what I would like to wash. Then the insides actually seems to be, I thought it was going to be a lot cheaper, but actually the metal seems to be about the same. And the nice thing I did see in here, where the heck is it? Well, I think it's on that piece there. There's a, let's see if I can bring this up this way. There's a fuse, let's see, am I in the shot? Yeah, okay, there's a fuse, a built-in fuse here, and you basically got where's it at? You got a high limit and a fuse. So I thought that was pretty good. The other ones, I know I can have that. The one thing I don't like is, you can see this thing's barely on here. But the old one was held on with a screw. This is held on where you can't like push it up. This one you might be able to, but this one here, look how tight that is. See up in here? Let me get on this side so I can see what I'm filming. Yeah, see right here, I'll probably have to bend that down to get this off, which odds are you don't need to get this off. Well, yeah, you do if you want to wash it. I guess you just use a damn cloth, but I'm going to take this off. But I know when I bend this is really cheap looking. I got a feeling this is going to break. And if that's the case, then I'll have to get a spring and hook it up over here, like the original. So basically, well, let's see, I'll just pull this piece out. And this piece here pulls out. Okay, just in case you didn't see that. There we go. So that's the piece there. See that? It just pulls right out. It's got a little flap on there. Like I said before, this is here. You unscrew that if you want to change your portions. That changes in here, because this will slide and give you more or less, however you want it. Yep, it's about the same. This is curved. The other one I think is straight. Alright, I just finished taking it all apart. I got all the pieces off. I even got the heaters off. The one heater I was able to just kind of push up on it and get it off that hook. The other heater, the little tabs, that little hook part was bent up a little further, so I had to actually bend the one side down a little bit to kind of lift it up off that and then work the other side off. So now I'm just going to wash these, clean these, I'll put it back together, and then we'll do a little test. See which one dispenses better and see if there's any difference in heating. And everything looks pretty decent. I'd say the body, I think, is around the same thickness metal. I did like that single plastic piece versus a dual, but as I said, I really don't want to take the wires apart every time I want to clean this, so it'd be nice if there was a slit in there where you could slide that wire through. These guys here, I believe the original one was square here. I'm thinking it was. So I don't know if this is better for the design for it falling in there, which I never had a problem with before, or if maybe it's cheaper because you just bend it instead of making a separate piece. I don't know. But pretty much looks the same. This looks about the same. I'm not sure if it's the same gauge or not. Could be a little thinner, but then again it might not be. I would look at that. These heaters look a little cheaper, but you know, might be better technology. Then again, it might just be cheaper. You can see it's got like it's like a fiberglass weave in here, and I'm sure it's got wires going back and forth, up and down, whatever. You know, I don't know what the wattage is on here, but anyway, I'm gonna compare it to see which one gets hotter. And hopefully that lasts. There was some information on the back here, so We just gotta spin this around. I think I'm stuck on the cord. Hold on. There we go. So let me just zoom in on that a little bit so you can read that. I couldn't read it too because I don't have my glasses. It just looks like a blur to me, but I think you have all your information there so you can check out your wattage, and then I'm assuming the heater wattage will be on there. Alright, then we'll clean this and put it back together. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to take the old version apart, just like the other one. Take the top off. Then if you want, you can just pull this light off. It's got this little bracket here. So then to get these off, there's I'm not sure what you call these little clips, little brass clips. Just squeeze them together, you pull them. These things. You can see it. So we got one on each side. Just take that off. Get this side off too. Alright, then these just lift off individually. See how nice it is? You got a channel for the wire like that, so if you want you can take this off to clean these, and you can like wipe these down then without taking them all apart if you don't want to. This would just lift off. Then to get this out you have to unscrew this here. You take your light, move it out of the way, and this just lifts up. So you just lift this up here, and then you got to watch this here. So make sure the back clears. Oops. And that just slides out. Now you have a spring. You see it right here. See it right there? It's on the side. That's holding your heaters, okay? Yeah, let's see if I can. See, I think you can see that there. Okay, so then what you do is you take this spring and you just push it down, and you unhook your heater. So your heater's right here. Just put your heater back in, and then this piece here, you just slide right out of here. And then if you can wash them. Now this piece is different than the other piece just for the fact that it has a spring here. See a spring? That's used when you have, see the hole fills up, and then when you're pulling the nuts, like all this is full of nuts, the spring just kind of keeps everything falling into here basically, so when you're pulling this it doesn't fall back into this section here, and you know, so it's just kind of like a rake it into the hole. But anyway, the rest of it is, it's just two screws. You got one on this side and one right over here. Take those out. This lifts up, and then you have to unscrew this, you know, for the switch. But that's pretty much it. I'm gonna put this one back together because I got one actually behind it that I actually had to take apart because it was dirty and I wanted to clean it. So I'm just gonna put this one back together. I just wanted to show you how to take that piece out, and then we'll compare the parts from the new one to the old one. Okay, we're going to do a comparison of the two machines, and I figured I'd start from the bottom and work our way up. So the difference in the two, there really isn't much difference. It's the same size, it's the same metal, same height as far as this part goes. This one, this is the older one by the way, and this is the newer one. This one's a little higher as you can see, and that's because you have different feet. So the feet that they use, they're pretty beefy rubber, hard rubber feet. The original ones use suction cups, which I thought the suction cups would be better just for the fact that they wouldn't slide, but when I put this down, you know, it slides like that. They slide the same, so the suction cups really doesn't stop it from sliding. So to me, they're identical. I really don't care about which feet The things I do care about is this one has an awful lot of screws to take this off. You have to go through 8 screws over this one. The old one has 2 screws, and you do want to take this off every now and then because I found that you'll end up with a lot of salt in here and oil, of course, and little pieces of peanuts. And what happens is if it's in a humid area, the actual base that fits in here, or the frame, we'll say, it could corrode. I've seen some older ones where they're just solid rust all the way here, and that's because this was loaded with old material and a lot of salt, basically. So you do want to be able to take this off, and I like this because it's just 2 screws. So I would give that part of taking off to the older one. Plus, the older one, I think this is awesome here. I love that it has an actual plate on it. I like that a lot. So this one has nothing. So as far as function, they're identical. The only difference is this one's easier to take off. Yeah, and it has a cool plate, so I would rather have this one. But either of them would work just fine. Alright, let me turn this off, and well, actually I don't have to turn it off. Let's just move on. Let's just move this over here. Move this one on top. And let's just bring in the next piece. Alright. So this is the old original one. Just looking at the comparisons of the metals. They're both pretty thick of metal. I think they're identical as far as that goes. I'm trying to get it in frame here. I can kind of see where I'm at. It's kind of hard, but anyway, color-wise, well, they're both white. This has the older one has a, I don't know how to explain it. It's a white, but it has kind of almost like another tone to it, where this is more solid white. So it all depends on your personal preference of what color you like. As far as the body goes, it's pretty much identical, except this one has a lot more screws, as we were talking earlier. And you can see, let me take a look inside here. This has a little wider base in here, so that's nice for it to sit on, but the pieces are, they fit so tight it really don't matter. So I would say these are actually they would fall under the same. I don't see any difference. Again, it's just the holes that I would rather have 2 than 8. I don't like this here. Can you get that in that frame? I don't care for that much, but you know, some people might think that's the best part of the machine. So that's personal preference. But as far as the bodies go, I say they're the same. Next piece, we'll do the heaters. I was looking at these heaters here. These are for the new one. What I do like is you have a fuse built in, and you have like a thermal protection. I thought that was really good. I was thinking these are kind of flimsy looking. I took one of these apart. Here's an original one. It's a lot beefier. You could just feel the difference in weight. I did a ohm reading on them, and the old one I was reading 1263 ohms, and that came out to it was using 115 volts. It came out to 10.5 watts. So I thought that was pretty good. Then on the bottom it actually says 10 watts. So that was pretty accurate. This one has nothing on it, so I ended up with 773 ohms, and that gave me 17 watts. So the new one actually is going to be a lot hotter. So that's going to be interesting to see. I just hope the materials that they use now will last as long as these do, because I know these last pretty much forever. One thing, you got this wire right here, and it's covered with this braided cloth, being a heater and being from 60s. It's probably asbestos. I don't know. I did not test it, but that would be a guess. Where this braided cloth wire should not be. It came from China. I don't know what their standards are there, so who knows what it is, but it's going to be out of the eating area. It shouldn't really be that big of a deal, unless you freak out on asbestos, then that's a possibility. Let's see, the way that the heaters, let's see, do I want to do that? Let's just do these guys next. Alright, so let's put the heaters aside. Now, as far as this chamber here, this is what slides out and grabs the nuts, or fills up with the nuts. We got the old one, and we have the new design, or new one. So on the back, you can see an adjustment nut on there on both of them. So they're pretty much identical, size-wise and everything. It's just pretty much a carbon copy. I would have to say, out of the two, I would say the new one is better, just for the fact that I like that it's curved here, so I think the product won't hang up. It will slide in better. This flap here is wider, where this one's more narrow. The only difference in this would be getting all that garbage, like I was saying, with the salt and the nuts falling down, because when this is pulling through, let me grab one of these guys. You can see in here, it's going to be, where's the camera? There we go. It'll be sliding through here. It's still a solid base, but as it goes through, some of that's going to come out the back, especially if this area here has more gaps. So I will have to say that the new one has a better design for this piece, so I'm going to give it to that one. Alright, let's put these, well, I'll keep this here because they go sliding in here, so let me just get one of these. Okay, now as far as this piece, I'm thinking this is heavier gauge, but it pretty much looks the same, so I really can't say that. Just going off of weight. Let's see. I'd say they're the same. So as far as design goes, the new one, I do not like this. This is what holds the heater on. I think this will break if you have to take this out to clean it, because in this area here, let's see, can you see? Yeah, this area here gets full of gunk, and you have to take it out and clean it. Actually, that's the only area that I actually use Scotch-Brite on, or some sort of scouring pad, because it gets full of old grease and it gets heated a lot, so it solidifies, and I don't want it getting all nasty in there. Let's grab this one here. That one's missing a clip. So with this one, this has a spring on it, and that's for this piece here as it slides. In a second here. Try to get this guy in here. There you go. As this pulls out to drop the nuts, see, the way it works is, as you can see, this part here, we still in frame yet. This part here goes into, pull this in frame here, right here. So this piece right here sticks out of here. Alright, so that's where your nuts slide out. Now when you pull this, let's see if I can get it in frame. When you pull this, oh, someone's on the phone. This flap comes down, okay? And that's where your nuts are going to go through. So they go on this flap, and then this comes up, and this closes like that for your next batch of nuts to fall in there. So you can see how it's closed, and when you pull it, it's going to open up to release the nuts, and it's going to go down the chute into your hand or a cup, whatever you use. So anyway, they have a spring here on the old one, where I would assume that it's like raking when the nuts, there's a big pile of nuts here. This is just like, kind of like, if you took, just say raking. You're just basically going to the top of it, sliding it off, so you're going to level out the nuts, that's all. There's a lot of nothing for that, right? And this one has something different, which I actually like this one. This one, they just made this section here come down like it does on this side here. So there is no spring, they're just using this, but you can see it does, how should I put it the right way? As you can see, there is a gap there. So when you're pulling it, all that's going to do, I'm thinking, is it might just, the nuts will just be mounted up a little more. You might actually get more out of that. And it's interesting, they got a curved part cut off for that screw up on top. I didn't notice that before. See that? Really not that interesting, I guess. But anyway, as far as this piece goes, I think they're pretty much identical. So I wouldn't say one is better than the other. The only difference that I saw in here is the spring. I take that back. I take that back because this one did have these crappy clips to hold the heater, which I think will break. So I would have to give it to this one, just for that fact. The heater on that one attaches, hooks up to the heater, and then what it does is it just comes into here. How the heck I think it goes this way first. Yeah, it's like this. So it just hooks up, and then this part hooks onto the heater. So I would have to pick this design just for the fact that I like the way the heater is laying on there better. Okay, so let's move these out of the way. Getting big piles of stuff here. And go to the next section, which is the plastic pieces. This is a new one, and this is the old version. This is a darker looking plastic, where this is clear. I'd rather have the clear. Also, I like the fact that, well, let's just say this. I like this as a one-piece unit. I do like that. Okay, but I don't mind the two-piece. And the two-piece I really like because the cord for the light bulb comes up here and it goes right through there, so you don't have to cut the wires. Like, to get this off, I had to actually take this machine apart, and I had to cut basically this light out. So, you know, and you don't necessarily have to clean this. The nuts will leave a little residue, and I do wash them out, but you want to be able to get to this piece here, and to do that you have to take this off. So definitely like this design better. If they had a channel, like I was saying earlier, if they had a channel just cut right here all the way down where you could get the wire for the light bulb to go through there, then I would prefer this, except for the color. I like this better. So just for the fact that you have to take everything apart and cut the wires off and all that, I would have to pick this section here. And also, it's easier to clean, because that's my main concern, was cleaning, and to get that, I had to take that whole piece apart. All right, now the last part we have is the roof. So let me get this other roof here. All right, here's the roof, and with the old version, you got little nut hut here, you have little nut hut here. I like that. I like this color. I don't like this maroon color. And you can see it's a little smaller. So that means that plastic's probably a little smaller. Actually, anyway, look at that base and see, it kind of looks about the same. It's all about the same size, everything. But anyway, back to this. I don't mind the little nut hut writing. I think that looks good. And I don't mind this little nut hut writing. They're both different. I like them both. But I really don't like this color. And like I said, this is brand new and it's all scuffed. And I bought this from the guy that was actually selling them, who has like the nut hut page. I think he's in Peoria, Illinois. I actually bought it from him, so we could say it's, you know, kind of came from the warehouse. You know, it came probably out of his basement or something. But anyway, I like this better. So I would pick this. And as far as the lighting goes, this was horrible. This was absolutely horrible. It just didn't light up. I don't think it would even light the product up. I don't know if it's the bulb or it's just maybe let's see if yeah, it is more. I'm holding this up to the light. You can't see that. I'm holding it up to the light, and yeah, this is more translucent. This one pretty much hides a lot of the light, which I don't like. So anyway, that's it piece by piece. So now you can make your own decision on which one you like. I personally like the old one better, the original one, just because there's a lot of things that I liked more about it. And not saying this is bad. This one has a lot of some good improvements, but we haven't even tried them yet. So with a hotter heater, this might actually, you know, work better. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them all together, and then we'll check it out. Here's a close-up here of the heaters on the new one that I put on, and yeah, you can see how they clip on. You just clip it on, and then get to the other side. You just gotta push up until it clips in. It was relatively easy. There was one of them I had to struggle with, but you know, it seemed to fit pretty tight. So it seems to be holding good. I'm just worried about if you have to take them off, which you really shouldn't, but I usually take them off if I'm going to be washing because I don't want to get the heaters wet. But if you leave it alone, I think it would be fine. But if you take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, which really shouldn't be doing that, you might have an issue of that piece breaking. But anyway, I just wanted to show you there's some gaps in here. You can see on the side there's gaps. So you can see the gaps I was talking about. See right here. So I'm thinking, you know, this thing's gonna be full of nuts, and some of the product might fall down there, and then you're gonna have issues with it forming rust. Now these are actually held on by a couple little screws. You can see the little screws here. Where this guy here, he just sits right in. But normally I would put the bottom on. I might put the bottom one on this one first, but this one I can't put the bottom on just because I have to put this light in. And that has to go through here because this won't fit this way, so I have to feed it through here, so I have to get that piece on. One thing I forgot to show you was this actually screws in with 4 screws. You got 4 like plastic screws that go through here. These guys here, this type of screw, see the thread? So that goes into the plastic and holds that on. After I put the plastic on, it sealed up the gaps, and then this pulled it in, tightened it up pretty good. These were really hard to get in, though. I had to really push down on this, so I don't really care for that part of it. I mean, you would imagine that it should just sit, and then you just put the screws in, but they were like way up here, and I had to like really mash down to get it in, and everything's lined up right. I mean, it's not like one piece is up in the air, and all these screws here that I put in, those went in, you know, so it's holding it the way it should be. So anyway, I'm gonna flip it over now and then wire this one up, and then I'll start putting this one back together. All right, everything's back the way it was. The wires are a little tight, a little short there. I didn't really cut anything off. All I cut off was this much, wherever the connector, where it's crimped. So that's all I cut, but the one that really shortens it is that light going up. You know, like I said, if that light had a longer wire even, to be nice. Just showing how to put the heater on this one. You have a spring, you have the inside part of the hook going in here, and then you just stretch this out while your other hand is pushing this forward, and you just hook it on there. It only hooks on the one side, and if you look, the heater has a gap. I looked at the other heater that has a gap also. I thought it fit a little tighter, but they're both pretty much the same. But I'm just going to put the other one on, then I'm going to pop it in there, and I'm going to put the switch in front, right over here. and then start heating. Alright, so this is the original, and these just go back down and you line it up with the hole. And as you can see, there's no gaps like the new one had gaps on the side. And this one just fits in really easy, and your wires come up over on this side, and then you just put in 4 of these and you're done. Alright, I put some nuts in, I turned it on, jump, let's see if I can read it, 0.33 amps. And this one I put the nuts in, turned it on, and this one's only drawing 0.23 amps. Okay, right now it's roughly 10 to 9. I turn them both on. I'm going to come back in about, give it 15-20 minutes, and we'll see which one's hotter. Well, it's been a good 15 minutes now, and when I came down I could smell something burning. And I stick my nose down on the new one and it smells like something's burning. And when I stick my nose in this one, it just smells like nuts are heating up. So maybe it's because this is a new heater that's never been used. I'm not sure. I have to flip it over and take a look at it. There's no smoke or anything, it just smells like it's burning. Definitely a burning smell. Alright, for the new one, I'm showing 119 on that almond right there. 114. Trying to hit the metal, it's like 90 something. Nuts are on this side are like 94. This side is, what do we got? Oops. 70s, 90s, 104. Let's go to the old machine. Old machine's like 88, 89, 90. We got 90. 85, so it's like 90s where it's peaking. Let's go to the cashew side. What do we got? 100, 94, 104, 86. So these temperatures are pretty much all over the place, but this one seems to be in the 90s more, 80s, high 90s, 100s, and high 90s. So I would safely say that this one here, the new one, is getting the nuts hotter. And also you got to remember it has a 17-watt heater, where this one has a 10-watt heater. I'll let it go a little longer, then we'll take some out and just see if it burns my hand. Alright, I have these heating up now for an hour and a half. I don't smell that burning smell that I smelled yesterday when I had it on, but it still smells like something's burning inside. Nothing in this one. So this one still has a burning smell. And I'm just wondering, because everything was taken apart and cleaned, except of course the heaters. So maybe it's something in the heaters. You know, maybe you have to burn off something. I don't know. But I just don't want my, the food to get that taste. So anyway, I want to see how hot these are. And as we know, yesterday burnt the heck out of my hand. So let's see, I got a napkin over here. Let's do this. Back it up a bit. Still in frame, yep. Okay. So the inside, the nut itself is showing me the top nut here 120 degrees. This side is 123. The old machine is 111 on top and 104 over here. So let's see how the product is. I noticed yesterday when I'm pulling this one actually is a little harder to pull. It seems like it gets hung up when you're pulling the this piece out of here. That one section where it rakes across, it seems to jam. This one's going easy though. Alright, so let's just see what this is here. Wow. 170 degrees. 180. 188. So these are extremely hot. 160 is the lowest I get. 150 now. 180 over here. So yeah, it's a little too hot. Let's try this one. Let's go see how it's hanging up. You can hear it. So 150s, 160s, 170 something. So it's all over. Seems to average about, this one about 160s, 150, 120. These must have been more on top or something. Brazilian, that's 130. These here I know I can hold. So let's get these in my hand. What are these? These are like 115, something like that. It's going from like the 90s to 120, something 130 right here. So these are okay. And these, see how easy it pulls? And that one has that spring instead of that one solid piece. 119. So those are good. These I don't want to put back in because I'm thinking these might, well, they're too hot, but let's see. They are too hot. I want to see if it has that taste, that burnt taste, but I don't taste nothing. Tastes like a peanut, but it's really hot. Alright, when I started this video, I said I was going to try to find out which had the better product, the original Little Nut Hut or the new repro Little Nut Hut. I was looking to see which one works the best, and of course which one heats up the best. So my overall opinion, taking all this into consideration, is I still prefer this one here. The original one to me is a far better looking machine, and I'm just going to go down the list real quick. It has a better looking roof. I like the color better. It illuminates better, and it lights up this area. You can just see the light coming through, and when you got nuts in here, the product lights up. It looks really good. This one is kind of a joke. You probably can't see it. There's like a little light here, but the light doesn't work well. I don't like the color of this. It's not as translucent as this one. I do like the writing. That's okay. I don't like the color of this because it kind of blocks out some light. And that's pretty much it for that section of it. Coming down, I like these tags, even though it's not a vending machine. You used to give the bartender, whoever, 20 cents to get your nuts. But even if you get rid of that and you just had that tag there, that's much better looking than this hot, delicious, nutritious, in my opinion. I think that looks gaudy. I think this looks really classy. I like the old-fashioned toggle switches versus that. And I love this little Nut Hut nameplate with the serial number. And I don't care for seeing the screws here. So just over a general appearance, I like this one all the way. This one, not really. As far as working the best, well, when I was pulling on these, they all work the same. Just in the one video that I showed, this one got hung up, and that's because I'm thinking when you pull the nut was over the top. When you're pulling it, it has to go underneath that one solid stationary piece, and since it was sticking up, it got stuck. so I had to pull it harder until the nut actually broke, and then it dispensed fine. This one didn't happen. If it did, there's a spring on there, and I think the spring will give way, and that's what the spring's for. It's for raking out the product, and then when you're pulling it through, it could give a little bit. So I say this one works better just because of that spring, but in reality they both work just fine. As far as cleaning, this machine's a lot easier to clean because you can take it apart easier. All you gotta do is take the brass pieces out. There's 4 of them. You just press them, pull them out, lift this up, and then you can pull these trays out, and they just pop right out. And then you got to take apart the heater, and then you can wash things. And if you want to clean the bottom, you just got 2 screws, and that's it. So very easy to access this machine. This one here is a pain in the ass, would you say? To get these out, if you wanted to get these out, you have to take this off, of course, flip it over, disconnect the wiring to the light, take that out. Then you have to unscrew the screws on the side, pull that off. Then you got to unscrew the screws in the metal trays, pull that off. And then if you want to take this off, you got 8 screws to take off. So it's quite a pain to take it apart and try to clean it. If they put a channel in there, like I said before, for the wire, at least you could have pulled that down and it would lift up, and then it would be pretty much the same. But they don't have that. One thing this machine has that this one doesn't is it has better safeties. You have a fuse built in. You have the thermal safety, high limit, we'll just say, and then you have a ground, where this one don't have a ground. This one is grounded, so that's a lot better. As far as the last part I'm looking at was temperature. This one definitely is a lot hotter. You got 17 watts versus 10 watts. The only problem I have with that is if you have this machine going at a party, because I would have these things on for hours. I turn it on before people got here, I turn it off when they leave. It could be on 12, 15 hours. So if no one's dispensing it, this thing's just going to be heating up. I showed a couple temps of 190 degrees. That's an awful hot nut. So if someone went up there and just put their hand in there and pulled it, you could get scalded. I would assume that they would drop them, but you know, someone could get burnt. This one is more comfortable. It's about 120, 130. So I had these on, I think it was 3 hours when we were getting those temps. But in their defense, I did see on their website that they said that you put a cup down and then pull the knob and fill the cup up. They don't want you to put it in your hand. So in a cup, that's fine. But one of those nuts that I temped, got a temp reading on it, was like 150 something degrees. I put it in my mouth, and yeah, it was too hot. I pretty much burnt my tongue. But it's not a bad product. It's actually a really good product, and I was really happy to see that someone actually came out with a repro on the nut hut. It's a really, really cool machine. I had like 2 or 3 of these, and I love using them. So people out there who don't have them, this is a great chance to get one. Go on the internet, pick it up. It's a good price. It's a really good product. I just prefer this one better, you know. But it's all a matter of opinion. I just think it's classier looking compared to that, but it's still a really good machine, and it's worth the price. So if you don't have one and you want a nut machine, this one's just fine. Overall, I'd say this is the winner. This is the one that I would pick. But you know, that's just my 2 cents.